My germaphobe professor husband let his student touch his face. My professor husband has severe germaphobia. Any woman besides me who touches him makes him physically ill. He even keeps a full lecture hall's distance from female colleagues in faculty photos. Until our wedding anniversary, when his graduate student posted on Instagram. Adrian let Sophia brush the hair from his forehead, even touch his face. Finally made it to grad school chasing my dreams. Seeing him fills me with motivation. One day I'll be his greatest achievement. I commented. You know professor-student relationships violate ethical guidelines, right? Adrian called immediately. Can you not be so disgusting? She's my student. Victoria, delete that comment now. Our friends all said I was too jealous. Adrian quickly posted to clarify. My goal is conquering academic frontiers. Someone just taught me I matter too. Watching the university forums praise him, I smiled and made a call. 10 minutes later, Sophia received her expulsion notice. Chapter 1. The moment Sophia was expelled, Adrian stormed home. Do you know what that degree cost her? 3 years. Countless all-nighters to get accepted. And you destroyed everything with one false accusation. This is too much. In all our years married, this was our first fight. Over a female student he'd known less than a month. I laughed coldly. I funded the research project. I can remove whoever I want. Let me ask you, how does a new master's student qualify for a PhD-only research team? Adrian himself had set that requirement, saying he hated hand-holding grad students. Yet he'd broken his own rule so quickly. Not only letting Sophia join the team, but allowing her to touch his hair and face. Our friends didn't know, but I knew Adrian's condition. I knew what his tolerance meant. Adrian. I frowned, grabbing his wrist. We may have a business marriage, but we promised never to betray each other. Remember who your wife is. Besides, we'd grown up together. It wasn't like we had no feelings. Are you misunderstanding something? Sophia and I have nothing between us. Adrian pulled his hand away. She worked hard to join my team. Can't I give an underprivileged girl a chance? Must your mind be so filthy? Misunderstanding? I laughed angrily, showing him the university forum comments. Only then did he realize Sophia had posted to the forums too. Under her photo, countless students commented. OMG, is this really our ice-cold Professor Sterling? He's actually not keeping 3 yards from a female student. This young female student and strict genius professor dynamic. I ship it. But didn't I hear Professor Sterling was secretly married? Guess that was just rumors. Adrian frowned. They're just misunderstanding. It's not reality. Do you need to overreact? Overreact? Professor Sterling, I simply raised a valid concern publicly. Why are you so angry? Don't tell me you don't understand what impact Sophia's post would have. Adrian froze. I laughed humorlessly. See? You knew exactly what people would say. You knew I can't tolerate any betrayal, yet you let her do this anyway. My words hit home. He immediately protested. Victoria, if you're unhappy, tell me. I'll post a clarification. I won't let Sophia in the research group. But expelling her over this tiny thing? Don't you think you're being unreasonable? Crash. The glass on the table shattered on the floor. Adrian stared at me in shock. For the first time, I spoke to him with ice in my voice. You don't get to define this as tiny. We'd known each other over a decade, married for 4. We'd always been together. Even if we'd initially chosen each other as the safer option for an arranged marriage, after our engagement we'd gone skydiving, skiing together. Countless moments of connection and attraction had created a soul-deep love between us. More importantly, Adrian could only tolerate physical contact with me. But everything changed when Sophia appeared. This was our first fight ever, the first time I'd been angry enough to break something. The living room fell silent. Maybe you should cool down. Adrian's eyes showed disappointment as he grabbed his bag and left the house. On the dining table, the anniversary gift I'd prepared for him sat untouched. Chapter 2. The next day, the campus forums exploded again. Not only had Adrian halted the research project, but Sophia had posted a screenshot of my comment. Students loved the drama. So what if she's a CEO? Trying to get Sophia expelled with false accusations, but our Professor Sterling doesn't play. That game just walked away from the project. I heard she's been pursuing Professor Sterling. Rich but brainless woman. Our professor would never want her. Is it just me, or is Professor Sterling defending Sophia against the investors super romantic? I'm swooning. Have you ever seen anyone get that close to the professor? They were practically kissing. The chemistry. The entire forum trashed me. Due to Adrian's professor status, we'd agreed not to publicize our marriage. But over the years, I'd invested in many of his projects. This led many at the university to think I was just pursuing him. Some had even found my number and sent anonymous hate messages for a while. Back then, he'd stood up to clarify for me. But this time, with the forums going wild, Adrian did nothing. I knew this was his way of punishing me. Until the dean called me crying, begging me to tell him where Adrian was. Every day the experiment was delayed cost the university hundreds of thousands, but Adrian had vanished without notice. I didn't know where he was either. After posting the project suspension, he hadn't come home and had blocked me everywhere. As I rubbed my temples with a headache, my phone buzzed. Sophia had posted again. In the photo, she sat on grass in a white sundress looking at the sky, but there were two shadows behind her close together as if holding hands. I immediately recognized the other shadow as Adrian. Sophia's caption read, "Sitting under the same sky, are our hearts closer?" In this moment, my crush is beside me. I'm so lucky. I told the dean coldly. Sophia posted, "One look and you'll know where Adrian is." But CEO Victoria, she hasn't posted anything. I froze. The dean said Sophia's last post was a week ago. Looking at the enlarged photo, I couldn't help but laugh. This post was only visible to me. Sophia had posted it specifically for me to see. Adrian couldn't be unaware of the implications of her taking this photo. Though he wasn't actually in frame, he'd still allowed her to take it. He was testing my limits. The dean sensed something and asked carefully, "CEO Victoria, what did she post?" "Something about Professor Sterling? Are you okay?" "I'm fine." I laughed coldly. Investment always carries risk. Total loss and betrayal are normal. If I collapsed over every little thing, how could I run the Victoria Corporation? The dean asked anxiously about the project. I frowned. Since Adrian is so irresponsible, tomorrow I'll personally bring the top professor returning from abroad to take over. As for Adrian and Sophia, kick them both out. Chapter 3. So when Adrian returned from his 2-week vacation, he didn't find a research team begging for his return or an anxious me. Instead, the experiment continued smoothly, and I stood chatting with a professor even more handsome than him. The dean beamed. Thank goodness CEO Victoria brought Dr. Marcus Chin back from abroad. He's a leading international authority. Seeing Marcus standing close to me, casually chatting, then giving Adrian a dismissive nod. Adrian's face darkened instantly. Victoria. I looked up. Sophia followed closely behind him. Seeing another man beside me, triumph flashed in Sophia's eyes. I smiled carelessly, "What?" Then took the file Marcus handed me, our fingers brushing. Adrian ground his teeth. "Don't you think you owe me an explanation?" "Explanation?" I pretended not to understand. You wanted to vacation, but the experiment needed to continue. Does he need you personally supervising? What about your company? Seeing Adrian's anger, Marcus adjusted his glasses. I stepped protectively in front of him. You're scaring him. He just returned from abroad. I wanted to mentor him personally. Adrian almost thought he'd misheard. Mentor him? Who is he that CEO Victoria needs to personally mentor? Victoria, what will people think? He grew up with me like a little brother, just abroad while you were here. Isn't it natural I'd look after him? Brother? Adrian froze. But seeing Marcus standing behind me made his blood boil. Don't forget you're married. Look how close you two are standing. I know what he's thinking. Victoria, I don't. Marcus shook his head quickly. I patted his hand reassuringly, then frowned at Adrian. Can you stop being so disgusting? Childhood friends helping each other, that's all. Besides, about Sophia. Her mother's a homewrecker. I didn't expect it ran in the family. I looked directly at Sophia. She froze completely. Adrian frowned. What do you mean, her? Mother's a homewrecker? Isn't she an orphan? Marcus spoke up. CEO Victoria investigated Sophia's background. Her mother is currently your uncle's mistress. Shut up. Adrian glared at him fiercely. I quickly shielded Marcus protectively. Look it up yourself if you don't believe it. Don't yell at my people. Adrian's gaze met mine in the air. Not wanting to make a scene at the university, despite his extreme anger, he turned and left with Sophia. But that evening when I got home, I found Adrian sitting in the dark living room, eyes red. Seeing me return, he stood and approached. Wife. What else do you want to say? My tone was cold. His voice grew hoarse. I was wrong. Let's make up. Chapter 4. Before I could react, Adrian pressed forward, kissing me. In all our years together, this was his first time being so aggressive. I wrapped my arms around his neck, pulling him closer. Why the sudden realization? His voice was muffled. Seeing you with Marcus today made me jealous. But he and I are just employer. And employee. I know, that's why I'm apologizing. He pulled out his phone, showing Sophia calling. I think I finally understand how you felt seeing me with Sophia. I'm sorry. I was wrong before. He kissed my ear. I took his phone and answered. Sophia's anxious voice came through immediately. Professor, why are you suddenly revoking my graduate status? I didn't do anything wrong. Did CEO Victoria say something again? I really only see you as my mentor and role model. Professor, please believe me. I worked 5 years to be near you. You're like my hope. I couldn't have any inappropriate thoughts. I can't be expelled. Adrian took the phone back and hung up. The world finally went quiet. Wife. He kissed me while moving toward the bedroom. I just felt you were too controlling, so I wanted to upset you. Only when I saw how you treated Marcus did I realize I was being childish. Let's not fight anymore, okay? Okay. I sighed and let him carry me to the bedroom. Sterling and Victoria corporations were bound by mutual interests. I wouldn't divorce easily. More importantly, I truly loved Adrian. I'd only wanted to wake him up. Now that I'd achieved my goal, I didn't want things to get uglier. But the next day, chaos erupted at the university. Sophia had returned to the lab, and while I wasn't watching, she'd drunk experimental chemicals then blocked my path. I know it's all you. Why did you destroy everything? Why can't you believe I only see him as a teacher? Is everyone so dirty in you business people's eyes? Everyone approaching professors has ulterior motives? She walked toward me with the chemicals. Marcus tried to shield me in horror, but she tilted her head back and drank the chemicals. Then clutched her stomach and collapsed, face pale. Everyone panicked. She looked up at me pitifully, desperate and wronged. Since CEO Victoria doesn't believe me, I hope this proves my innocence. I really just wanted to follow my professor and build a future. Call an ambulance. I ordered my bodyguard, but met Adrian's eyes as he arrived. Professor. Sophia called weakly. I waited to see Adrian's reaction. He frowned at Sophia, go to the hospital. Don't come looking for me again. Sophia's eyes widened in disbelief. Adrian took my arm and pulled me away without looking back at Sophia once. In that moment, Sophia became a complete laughingstock. When Adrian suggested we have a proper wedding ceremony, and our photos hit the forums, Sophia was mocked even more mercilessly. She'd leveraged Adrian's sympathy as a girl from poverty to reach her position. Now that everyone knew, no university would accept her. But what did that have to do with me? Dare to want what isn't yours, pay the painful price of failure. After things calmed down, I noticed Adrian often staring at his phone in a daze. When he wasn't looking, I checked. It was messages from his best friend. He'd sent many recent photos of Sophia and screenshots of her social media. In the photos, Sophia was miserably washing dishes at a cheap restaurant, being turned away from universities. Truly pitiful. The last was a video of Sophia facing drunk customers, getting slapped and nearly assaulted. His friend asked. She's suffering so much. You really won't help her? Adrian had replied. Don't send me these anymore. It's none of my business. I breathed a sigh of relief. He really had learned his lesson. We were finally back on track. So the next day, I bought his favorite food to bring to the university, planning to tell him he could return to the research project. But the moment I entered his office, Adrian glared at me with red eyes. Why did you do this? I asked confused, what do you mean? Still playing dumb. He threw the food to the ground, pushing me so hard my back hit the desk edge. CEO Victoria. His teaching assistant exclaimed, Professor Sterling, CEO Victoria is hurt. Just bumped her back. Is it worse than what Sophia suffered? He pulled a girl in janitor's clothes from the break room. Chapter 5. I hadn't expected Sophia to take a job as a campus janitor. Though the pay was good, it wasn't work most people could stomach. Especially not a young woman. Through Adrian's angry accusations, I finally understood. This morning, he'd encountered Sophia cleaning. She struggled with heavy manhole covers, injuring her back when one fell on her, making her boss furious. So she single-handedly cleaned every septic tank on campus, getting slapped for being too slow. Adrian hadn't planned to intervene. But when he saw a single tear roll down Sophia's cheek as she gritted her teeth and kept working, he remembered the clean, bright student who used to follow him. He suddenly felt Sophia shouldn't be buried like this. So he stopped her, asking why she took such work. Sophia stammered, unable to form complete sentences. Adrian laughed bitterly. It's Victoria, isn't it? You're afraid to say her name, but who else would push you to death's door? So Victoria, do people without connections deserve no second chances? Now Adrian stood before me, screaming hoarsely, gripping Sophia's hand tightly. I already stayed away from her. Why won't you even let her live? My secretary, who'd been with me, said anxiously. Professor, you're mistaken. CEO Victoria never. But she was cut off. Don't explain. I stopped my secretary, a mocking smile on my lips. Fine. If you think I did it, then I did. I turned and left. In my peripheral vision, I caught Sophia's eyes flash, her lips curving in triumph. Outside the university, my assistant was frantic. CEO Victoria, why didn't you explain? You did nothing wrong. Explain? I gazed out at the passing crowds. They don't deserve it. This was obviously Sophia playing victim for sympathy. But Adrian didn't even investigate, just assumed I was persecuting her because she looked pathetic. Absolutely ridiculous. I'd planned for us both to cool off for a few days. But that same day, I was trending with hate. An anonymous blogger detailed everything from Sophia joining Adrian's graduate program to my false accusations and using money to force her expulsion, including yesterday's confrontation. The internet exploded with abuse. Rich people think they're so special? We common people deserve to die? I also came from poverty. Seeing this makes me furious. She could change the world but make someone clean septic tanks. I'm so angry I could go to the hospital. Though the post was deleted and the account deactivated immediately, I knew Adrian was involved. Who else would dare provoke the Victoria family's retaliation but him? When Adrian came home that night, we sat on the couch in silence. Time ticked by until he finally couldn't stand it. Victoria, don't you have something to say to me? Yes. His expression softened slightly. As long as you publicly apologize to Sophia, I'll forgive you. But before he could finish, I slapped divorce papers on the table. Let's divorce. You leave with nothing, and I'll let you and Sophia live happily ever after. Adrian's pupils contracted sharply. You want to divorce me? Over this tiny thing? I removed my coat, nodding coldly. Over this tiny thing. You're insane. He suddenly stood, face twisted with rage. Not only did he tear the agreement to shreds, but he swept everything off the coffee table. The floor was chaos. Adrian said, I won't divorce you. Victoria, you're being irrational. Let's take some time apart to cool down. Don't contact me during this time. He stormed out. The living room returned to silence. But 3 hours later, I saw Sophia's posts on social media again. In a brightly lit classroom, Adrian sat beside her. My professor is heaven-sent salvation. Today he was upset, but after I made him my special omelette rice, he finally smiled. I wish I could do research with him forever. I laughed in disbelief. Adrian had left so angrily, only to immediately start showing off with Sophia. Fine then. I sent screenshots to my secretary. Lisa, send these to the law firm. Have a team post them on Twitter and all university forums. I want the whole world to know about this professor-student affair. These cheaters. Adrian. Sterling, I've never been soft-hearted. Challenge my bottom line, and you'll pay dearly. Chapter 6. That day, Adrian called to curse me out. He said I'd become so vicious. Like a calculating businesswoman who'd stop at nothing. After his tirade, he hung up. When I called back, I was blocked. I calmly set down my phone and ignored it. After a month of Cold War, my secretary hesitantly said someone wanted to see me. I thought Adrian had finally come to sign the divorce papers. In the meeting room, I saw Sophia instead. CEO Victoria, the professor asked me to get some materials he left here, and some spare clothes. I raised an eyebrow. Oh? Don't misunderstand. Though the professor's been staying at my apartment, he's just taking care of me. We're living together platonically. We're completely innocent. But his spare clothes got torn, and he remembered this set in your office, so he sent me for the materials too. I looked at her smug expression. Adrian Sterling, heir to the Sterling fortune, had no place to stay? Yet he chose to live with Sophia? And now sent her to disgust me, the actual wife. I looked at her coldly and told my secretary. If you let any random person in again, you're fired. Sophia. Tell Adrian if he wants his things, come get them himself. But bring the signed divorce papers. Sophia's eyes lit up. CEO Victoria and the professor are divorcing? She quickly suppressed her rising smile. Such important matters, CEO Victoria should tell the professor yourself. Oh, I almost forgot, she slapped her forehead as if just remembering, the professor blocked all your contacts a month ago. Why don't you use my phone to call him now? Absolutely absurd. I, the legal wife, needed another woman's phone to contact my own husband. Looking at her offered phone. Making this call would be the ultimate humiliation. Years in business had taught me Sophia's little schemes. So I took the phone and smashed it on the ground. Crash. The phone shattered into pieces. Sophia screamed. What are you doing? She crouched, painfully gathering the fragments. I looked down at her, pulling cash from my purse and throwing it at her. This is enough for several phones like that trash. Take the money and get out. Show up again and it won't just be a phone I break. She clutched her fists in humiliation but didn't dare confront me. She could only take the phone pieces and money, glare at me, and leave quickly. By now, I didn't care what Sophia would tell Adrian. After this incident, Adrian never called again or sent Sophia for materials. Another month passed before he finally returned to our marital home. Opening the door, he found the house covered in dust. His heart sank. He immediately unblocked me and called. Where are you? The Chen mansion. What's up? Adrian frowned. What are you doing there? You're living with Marcus now? His voice held barely suppressed rage. I rubbed my ear, about to leave. Don't shout like a shrew. You'll scare the baby. What baby? What baby? I remembered he didn't know, and smiled. You didn't know? I'm pregnant. Chapter 7. Adrian quickly found me at the hospital. Seeing me, he snatched the stack of prenatal reports from Marcus. Seeing I was 1 week pregnant. He staggered back in disbelief. Victoria, whose child is this? 1 week you actually betrayed me. Instantly, his eyes filled with rage. Before I could react, he punched Marcus. You shameless bastard, stealing my wife. The scene descended into chaos. Are you insane? I pushed him away. I've told you countless times not to bully Marcus. Besides, I'm carrying his child. Hearing me confirm I was carrying Marcus's child, Adrian pointed at me with red eyes. How could you do this? How could you betray me? I looked at him coldly. Why not? First, I gave you divorce papers 2 months ago. You refused to sign. Second, don't act so innocent. You've been living with Sophia. Haven't you betrayed me? Third. Adrian, I don't love you anymore. Sophia and I are innocent. We don't even share a room. Adrian practically roared. The usually cool, composed professor who commanded lecture halls had completely broken down, becoming someone unrecognizable. In stark contrast was the mockery in my eyes. Adrian's breathing was unsteady. I just wanted to upset you. But you actually betrayed our marriage. Wife, I was wrong. Tell me you're lying, right? Right. I admitted it easily. Adrian froze. You. What? You thought I'd make excuses, explain that Marcus and I have nothing between us? Adrian, I'm not you. I have no reason to lie. The night you left me, Marcus brought me home from a bar. One thing led to another. We've been together since. Adrian couldn't believe it. How can you speak of cheating so righteously? I smiled slightly. Because you cheated first. Living under the same roof, even as teacher and student, is still cohabitation. What's done is done. Who are you performing for now? Besides, my divorce papers weren't asking your opinion. They were informing you. Do you understand? I ignored Adrian after that, finishing my prenatal exam before leaving with Marcus. But a few days later, Adrian showed up with Sophia. CEO Victoria, how could you do this to my professor? Sophia stood before me, righteously indignant as if I were the criminal. I looked at Adrian, pale and drawn, being firmly held by her. Absolutely ridiculous. What did I do to your professor? You cheated. Shameless. Sophia raised her voice. The professor gave you everything, but you don't cherish it at all. You're the shameless one, yet you want him to leave with nothing. As shameless as you too? I replied expressionlessly. Marcus tried to approach, but I pulled him protectively behind me. I continued. You talk about shame while playing with your professor, touching his face? You talk about shame while vacationing alone with him? That was just because. Sophia tried to explain, but I cut her off. You knew he was married but invited him to live with you, even shamelessly paraded in front of me to disgust me. Sophia, don't think I don't know your intentions. Get out. Neither of you has any right to question me. Sophia was speechless. But. She quickly clenched her fists angrily. You're slandering me. He's my professor. I only respect and admire him. Respect? Admiration? I almost laughed, looking at her coldly. Then let me ask, what about the torn clothes? Does respect mean holding your professor's hand? Does admiration mean wanting to kiss him? You're just using your student status to get close to Adrian. Given the chance. I'm a woman too. I know what women think. I threw all the evidence I'd collected at them. Private investigator photos showed Sophia secretly kissing Adrian's cheek while he napped. Even Adrian stared in disbelief. But I felt nothing anymore. I pushed them out the door with such force they both fell. Bang. The door slammed. I never looked at Adrian again. Never would. It would dirty my eyes. Chapter 8. After that day, I heard Adrian moved out of Sophia's place and cut all contact with her. He tried many ways to earn my forgiveness. He even got my parents to mediate, but I shut them down with. I'm carrying Marcus's child. I began separating Sterling and Victoria Corporation dealings, somewhat affecting both families' stocks. Helplessly, my parents came to the Chen mansion. You made the mistake first. How can you face Adrian's parents? I glanced at Adrian, so Mom, Dad. You don't actually know why we're divorcing? You think I'm the cheater? They froze, aren't you? My heart was numb now. I looked at Adrian calmly. Should I tell them for you? Adrian bit his lip, his face changing colors like a chameleon, but couldn't speak. My patience exhausted, I had my secretary explain everything in detail. My parents fell silent. Finally, they sighed. Though Adrian made mistakes, ultimately he didn't actually betray you. Victoria, you're the one giving him no chances. Correct. I sat up straight, sipping coffee. Adrian looked at me hopefully. So can we not divorce? No. I gave him no chances regarding divorce because once I decide something, I never change my mind. But before this, did I really give you no chances, Adrian? I met his eyes directly. One compromise leads to more. If there's a Helen or Sarah later, I'd keep compromising. Since your feelings have soured, I just want a clean break. My parents knew my personality. After a moment's silence, they sighed at Adrian. Adrian, let it go. Consider it fate without destiny. Adrian's eyes immediately reddened, reaching for my sleeve. Victoria, I really know I was wrong. I've expelled Sophia and driven her out of the city. Not my concern. I avoided his hand and went upstairs. Behind me came his unrestrained sobs of regret. Chapter 9. Soon after, I received signed divorce papers from Adrian. All marital assets went to me. He left with nothing. After the month-long cooling period, once the divorce was final, I quickly married Marcus. As for the child, though it was Marcus's, it wasn't from a drunken accident, but IVF. Marcus was too focused on research, but the Chen family demanded he marry and produce heirs. Elite children who enjoyed privilege in youth must contribute to the family as adults. Either become leaders or marry strategically. I was completely disillusioned with men after Adrian. So we agreed have a child together, but after marriage, live separate lives with a contract. Though my life ultimately became tangled in mutual benefits. At least without love, there's no pain. If I couldn't have eternally faithful love, at least I'd have money that would never betray me. Sunlight illuminated the towering office building. A new business empire lay before me. The end.